We are talking Kambo today. If you don't know what that is, Heather Mack is joining us on the show today. She's a Kambo practitioner. She works with a variety of earth medicines and is a spiritualist. She's a published author and the founder of two organizations, Divine Gift and the Conscious Collective, based in Los Angeles, and is a powerhouse of information in terms of spirituality, psychedelics, plant medicine, and more. So get comfy, go get your snacks, get some water. We're going to dive right in, guys. Heather Mack, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
I'm so excited to get into it today with you. Today, we're talking about Kambo. For those at home that are not familiar, Kambo is an incredible medicine of the frog, and Heather's going to tell us all about it. But just to get us started, Heather has such a cool background, and so I just would love to dive right in with you, Heather, and bring everyone up to speed here on what you've been up to over the last couple of months here, traveling the world, globetrotting, learning more healing modalities. I mean, you're just doing all kinds of crazy, incredible things for the healing space.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, it's really such an honor to be here. So thank you again for having me. Yeah, so happy to share about my healing journey. I've been on a quest of self-discovery for the past couple of years, actually. I have my background. I was actually, before I found myself in this work, I was an accountant. I was a buyer for a major large corporation. I worked in corporations for close to 20 years, and I had a great awakening around 2019 that kind of led me to start working on myself and going inward. And I quickly found myself in the healing space and working with plant medicine, earth medicines. So I found myself sitting with Kambo quite frequently. Kambo is the medicine that has been one of the most influential in supporting my healing journey and helping me with a lot of my addictive tendencies. So it's helped me with also getting off pharmaceuticals. So I used to be on SSRIs, Adderall, Zoloft. I was also drinking and just numbing myself in any way I possibly could. And I found myself working with Kambo to help heal myself. And it really helped with, it's a beautiful physical detox. So just to share a little bit about what Kambo is. So Kambo is a secretion from a frog from the Amazon, from the jungle. And it is applied to the skin topically. We make a small surface level burn, and it moves through the lymphatic system within 30 seconds. So it's basically scanning your body for imbalances, and it's activated by, it has over 13 bioactive peptides that are seeking out things to help energetically get you more in balance. So you go through a purging process. So you're either going to have a cleansing experience where you're going to vomit, you're going to sweat, you're going to cry. Some people laugh. It's anything to help move energy for you. So, and then you feel reborn again afterwards. So that's just one of the medicines that is one of my favorite healing modalities.
I love it. And I always love to pay homage to where these medicines come from. And so I know that you did a lot of studying with the particular indigenous communities that are serving this. And this particular medicine comes from South Africa, South America. And so tell me a little bit more about like where it comes from and some more details around it. It'd be great just to give a little spotlight to the communities that this originates from.
Yeah, so it's actually, yeah, from, like you said, South America. It's a frog that lives on the Amazon. It's served by 13 different tribes along the Amazon, and I studied with the Matsi tribe. So this medicine has been around. The exact number is not really known, but it's like thousands of years, like a very long time.
Wow.
And it came to us, the legend is, it actually came through ayahuasca. So there was a page. Page is Portuguese for medicine man, and his name was Campu, and his tribe was dying, and they had a specific disease that was killing them off, and he didn't know what to do. He had tried all these different herbs and remedies, and nothing worked. So he went to grandmother ayahuasca and asked, what can he do to save his people? And she brought him into the jungle and showed him the frog and showed him how to take the secretion from the back and apply it just like we do today. And he was actually able to save his people through grandmother ayahuasca showing him this. So that's the legend of Kampu, and that's why we call the medicine Kambo after him. So, and that's a legend that's held by a number of the tribes. So it's absolutely amazing.
Wow.
And I had the great honor of getting to study with them in Iquitos, Peru, and got to meet the frog. And it was absolutely incredible, life-changing experience.
Yeah, and as we kind of tap more into combo, a lot of people just don't even know what this is. So as you mentioned, it's the scraping from the back of the frog. They put it on the skin. What happens to someone, when they absorb this medicine? I know you mentioned it, like it's 30 seconds. It goes through the lymphatic system, but then what? Like what happens from there?
Yeah, so when it goes onto your skin, you feel it move through your entire body. So it's basically like scanning your body for the imbalances, and you're going to go through a very interesting process where your body gets really hot. So you could get really flush. You're going to go through an experience where it can feel like pins and needles tingling all over, and this is the part where you're gonna want to surrender and just breathe, and kind of like as much as you can, just allow the medicine to work through your body, and then the experience lasts for anywhere from like 20 to 40 minutes. You're going to go through a purging experience where you most likely will vomit, sweat, cry. And then your body goes through like a naturally cooling sensation. So your body starts to cool itself off. And once you are done with the process, that's when you start to feel the relief of everything that's moved energetically from your body. So it's a really beautiful, like, detox, cleansing. It helps with so many different things, like the 13 bioactive peptides. It can help with viruses, diseases, autoimmune. It's really good for Lyme's disease, long haul COVID. I mean, there's so many different things that combo. They call it the vaccine of the like the forest, so like the jungle. So it's like a cure all, basically. It's pretty amazing.
Wow. I sat with this just for our listeners. I did try this myself. And it actually sat with Heather too, which is really fun. But it is definitely one of those things where it can seem like pretty intimidating going into it because there's no like psychoactive component to it. It's really just like a body thing. Like it's a very physical reaction. And it's a challenge. I mean, I was struggle busting it when I sat with it, but afterwards, like I truly just felt like $1,000,000, the days and weeks following sitting with Combo. But more importantly, like it was definitely a really great partner to sitting with some other medicines and modalities that I had sat with that same weekend. It was just so great to clean you out and reset. But also I noticed some like really interesting things. Like I didn't get sick for a while. I didn't have any like allergy issues. I mean, like there's quite a few things where I'm like, whoa, I think this might be helping in ways that I wasn't expecting.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I definitely appreciate the nod to this as far as its supportive properties for helping those with addiction issues too. I think this is definitely a really incredible alternative modality. How did you stumble upon Combo? How did this come into your circle of orbit?
Yeah, and thank you for highlighting on all those things because it actually is very good for. It's an immune system booster, so it can help. I used to have seasonal allergies. I used to have asthma. Like all of these things have gone away since I started working with Combo. So it's really good for all those things you mentioned. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I found myself. I was at a point in my life where I was kind of like sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was like sick all the time. I had bronchitis frequently. I was just feeling very run down and I wanted to get off pharmaceuticals. And that was when a friend of mine brought me to my first combo ceremony. And it was after the very first one, I noticed such a significant change in my body, like physically. I noticed that like my alcohol cravings went down, like my food cravings went down. Like there was just so many, like my addictive mindset kind of calmed down and I felt clarity for the first time in a while. And I was like, what is this? This is like, I felt like my true self again. And that was when I kind of got introduced to it and it opened the doorway for me to kind of do then it's about doing the integration work afterwards about like what the medicine's showing you and then how you integrate that is like learning from what the medicine's showing you. So it was a really beautiful teacher to help me. And now it's been 5 years and that I haven't been drinking, I haven't taken pharmaceuticals. I mean, it's been such a beautiful ally in my healing journey. And now I'm so honored I get to share this gift with people now too.
One of the most important aspects about Combo is that it's legal.
Yeah.
And, that's surprising to a lot of people. One, they either don't know about it, but then two, the next thing is like, oh my gosh, is this legal? And it's legal. So you can sit with this medicine in total peace of mind, and especially with practitioners like you who are well skilled, you're so great walking people through the process and like helping be an incredible coach in the moment when there's those tough purging moments. I just remember sitting with you. You were fantastic, just coaching me through it and helping me be mentally strong and encouraging me as I was experiencing it. And so obviously that's such a gift, and thank you. But this is something that we definitely, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show is we definitely need to highlight this and help kind of be stewards of access to those that are in need of healing and are looking to alternative, which I call the original medicines and original modalities of the world versus like going to the pharmaceutical side of things. So yeah, I mean, it's just so incredible that it's legal. Like, I mean, just wow, wow.
Yeah, it's such a blessing. I feel like it's I think all these earth medicines should be legal, but yeah, we're so like thankful that the combo we can serve that freely and it's just such a beautiful healing ally. And like you said earlier, the thing that's really beautiful about combo that versus some of the other medicines that we work with is that it's not a psychedelic experience. So what I find is that the experiences that you're in your body for are a little bit easier to integrate because it's translatable, right, to the 3D world. Whereas like when we do some of these bigger experiences with psilocybin or mushrooms or 5-MeO, you blast off and then you're like, what just happened? And then translating it back into this dimensional space can be a little bit more challenging. Whereas the combo is called the Great Revealer because it's revealing you to yourself and how you handle the most challenging moments in your experience. So you can kind of like understand how to integrate it in a really, I find, an easier way than some of the other plant medicines we work with. So
Yeah, and just kind of indexing on integration for a minute because I love that you called out that the hard parts like the integration, like you really need to spend some special time on that. What is, for the layman's around here, what is integration and what do you mean by that? And maybe give us an example of, something specific that maybe I mean from your own journey if you're willing to share or maybe someone else's. What does that integration period look like?
yeah, so integration, like I said, is the most important part of these experiences. Like these medicines are here as like portals or doorways into access to different like layers of our consciousness. And then in order to actually make change in your life and actually have things last, you have to integrate the experience. And that just means basically allowing this to show you the pathway to inner peace, to freedom, to allowing yourself to feel liberated from the experience. Because the immediate aftermath from any of these medicines, especially combo, is you feel peace and calm and relaxation and you feel your true nature. But then, we go back to our daily habits and patterns can come back. So, what you need to do is look at what the medicine showed you in your experience. So, a lot of the time, what I like to do with people in working with these medicines is talk to them about pattern work. So, patterns are, we have different levels. Different patterns of the consciousness. I work with, there's about 10 different patterns, and there's everything from hiding and avoiding, from black and white thinking, polarized thinking, these things that basically are conditions that we've developed from a very young age in how we operate from traumatic experiences. And then they become conditions through our whole life. And then we operate from like autopilot, basically. So these medicines open the doorway to show you that you have the choice in every moment to change how the frequency of these patterns are showing up in your life. So we do a little bit of work with accepting the patterns and then replacing them with a new frequency of, you know, accepting, giving yourself compassion and grace and self-love, or choosing a new frequency and how this energy is showing up for you. So I do a lot of work with people, after they sit with the medicine, because it's all about what you do when you leave. I always say when you walk out this door, that's when the real work begins. You sit there, you do the medicine, but isn't until you go into your day-to-day life is the real test going to begin. And if you actually can utilize the work for your highest good.
I love that. If integration for me, like the term, the work, the world, the word, I mean, everything has been circling around integration for me over the last several months. And like, what does that mean for me as I've, been through my own healing journey and I'm integrating my own lessons that I've had from medicine. And so that's so huge. And I just can't index on that enough. Like, it was, there's a little misconception around a lot of these medicines, whether it's combo or mushrooms or any other psychedelic, ayahuasca, fill in the blank, all the buzzwordy stuff that's out there right now. And there's a lot of index on how this thing can help fix this thing, addiction, depression, anxiety, whatever. And I just like want to myth bust that like, yes, that it helps act as a doorway to process that. But, as you're mentioning, like, the integration is where the hard stuff is, it's in every single choice that you make in your life. If you're driving in traffic, which is a big combo when I use, someone cuts you off, it's like a video game thing that pops up. Choose choice A, honk at the guy and flip him off. Choice B, slow down, let him in, give him grace, send him on his way. Everybody's right. It's like, every choice that you make in every single step of your life, that's where the real magic happens. It's just one choice at a time. So huge. Um, you had quite the jump from corporate world to full-time healer and like we just were globetrotting, doing some really cool stuff in some really cool places, learning from some beautiful cultures, and spending some time in a lot of different healing spaces. Tell me a little bit about that journey because I know there's just so many people from the corporate space listening to this podcast right now who are probably like, wait, how did she get into her foot into this doorway where she's doing this work now and healing other people? Like, I got to hear more about your healing journey.
Yeah, thank you for that question because it's something that has been definitely it feels as though something that's very important in my journey is I believe everyone should be able to follow their passion and their purpose and what they're here to do. And honestly, I was so blessed in my path to be able to meet some people that really helped guide me. But honestly, what it boiled down to was I started working on myself. I really got like so invested in my personal healing journey. I was in my corporate job. I took a 6-month leave of absence and I just started diving in with healing myself because I was like, I can't live like this. This is not how I'm meant to go on anymore. And then I found myself working with it was first mushrooms and then it was combo, then bufo, then ayahuasca. I was just like trying on all the different hats, just trying to see like what works for me. And what I found was that it was ultimately ayahuasca that showed me like it was such a beautiful journey. It was my third time I sat with the medicine. It showed me like walking to my grave and I was walking down this hall and all my coworkers were like pointing and laughing at me and they were like, you were here for so much more and you spent your entire life working in this box. And it like showed me like like my like little
Like in a
yeah,
cubicle? Oh
like in
my
my
gosh.
little space at my job, and it was like, "You were here to help people." And then she showed me like I was supposed to be like helping humanity and help people heal and like healing myself ultimately, but like really then help supporting the collective. And she showed me like a stadium of hundreds of people, and she's like, "This is what you're meant to do." And after that, I quit my job, not really knowing what I was going to do. But honestly, the message I kept getting from all the plant medicines was surrender. And that was like the one tattoo I have is like surrender on my wrist because I'm
Oh, I love that.
constantly like, what does the divine want me to do? Like, I need to just surrender to what's being shown to me constantly. And that's kind of what actually led me onto this like traveling I just did. You mentioned I just traveled for 4 months straight. And I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to do, but I knew it was part of this journey of like healing and self discovery and self realization. And I found myself, I was in India for a month and I went to the Kumbh Mela. I did it like a spiritual journey while I was there. I was in Egypt and I went to 9 different countries, but it was amazing. And the big thing that came from my trip was that like I was able to work deeply, deeply, deeply on myself in a way that I've never been able to do before. So the thing that's very exciting for me is, I come back and now I can offer all of the teachings, all of the lessons, all of the deep meditative practices I learned. And now I can offer that to my community that is ready and wanting to work on themselves. So I'm very, grateful for surrendering and learning that this is part of the journey is just following your intuitive guidance because it's there for a reason.
I love that. Lately I've been, as I've been having conversations more and more about spirituality or medicine or mindset, mental health, like all these topics that pop up on my show, one of the biggest themes has been intuition. Pretty much everyone I talk to, when they share their stories, it always leads back to a point of intuition where they're like, I just knew that this wasn't serving me or this was serving me. And, like I just started listening to myself. And I really I can't encourage that enough for our listeners. Just really honor yourself and really listen to yourself because just like you just shared, I mean, you're living your best life right now. You're helping people all around the world. You're learning so much. You're honoring and sharing and learning from different cultures around the world. You're doing some really, really beautiful, cool things. And it's like, I mean, I come from corporate space too, and I couldn't wait to get out of corporate. And I'm so much happier now that I am following my path. But that took a point of intuition for me as well, where I realized I wasn't happy and I was only going to be happy if I started listening to my gut and what that was teaching me and telling me. So I love that. And you and I have had some conversations before about like intuition classes and things like that. So in terms of intuition, to help people kind of like get back in tune with themselves and in tune with their bodies and everything, do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing is as much as you possibly can, get yourself still and into a meditative place because the only way we can actually hear our intuitive guidance and tune in is if we give ourselves space to hear it.
Mm,
Because the environment we're in currently and the conditioning that's happening in this dare I say, matrix, it's it's more challenging to be able to have the spaciousness to be able to hear our intuitive guidance and listen and trust because it takes the trusting and the knowing and the spaciousness to like hear what's being shown to us. So I'd say like as much as you can get clear, have a good grounding practice, like connect with Mother Earth. I definitely feel like the more you can get your feet in the ground, in the grass, in the sand, and like just be still with yourself, those are the spaces where you can really tune in to your intuition and hear what's being offered to you. Because honestly, we're conditioned to look outside of ourselves for the answer. It's like we have this thing happening where it's like we're shown that codependency is the way we're supposed to operate through, like Disney movies and like our the TVs and all the programming that we have. And it's like the truth of the matter is actually the answer is always within us. Like our guidance system knows. And the more that you trust and the more you lean in to that trust, the more you're shown, the more magic starts to appear in your life. It's really beautiful how it works and it's all connected. It's just like one little breadcrumb leads to another, leads to another. So the more you can give yourself the opportunity to listen, the more your life will literally become magic and you can manifest, create the world of your dreams basically.
I love that. Kind of going back to Kambo just a little bit. I just have a couple more questions around that that are coming up for me that I think would be so helpful. Um, when someone is interested in doing combo, what would be a good place for them to start in terms of like how they can educate themselves or how they can find maybe you or somebody else that serves combo? What's some good ideas for someone who's never done it that wants to tap into it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So, like, first and foremost, you want to make sure that your body is in like a good state before you come to the medicine. So, what I mean by that is everything with all the plant medicines is about your consciousness because it's going to meet you exactly where you're at. A lot of these things are mirrors for where we're at in our journey. So, when I say that, I mean you want to make sure that you have a clean vessel. So your body is clear in order to receive the medicine. So you don't want to be on any pharmaceuticals that are basically like you don't want to be on Adderall. You don't want to be on like you could be on SSRIs, but kind of weaning yourself off some of the bigger pharmaceuticals like stimulants and like coffee because you want to give your body a rest. You want your nervous system to be relaxed when you take the medicine. So that would be like the first thing. And you're also going to want to take a break from alcohol, um, and then cannabis, anything that could potentially disrupt the flow. So, and then the most important thing is vetting a good facilitator. So that's like very important. You want to make sure that the person that you're sitting with has experience. So I really recommend checking out, like, I was trained through the organization Kambo International. You can go on their website. There's also IAKP, that's another organization. You can literally go to these websites and like search on there, and then most of the people on there have, you could check out their website. My website is divinegift.me. So I have a lot of information on there and some helpful links to a lot of literature about combo, studies and all sorts of things. But I would say, like, doing your due diligence and your homework before you sit with the medicine is the best thing to do. And also trusting your intuitive guidance too. I have had so
Mm.
many people tell me, I've that they've looked for years for the right facilitator, and it wasn't until they found somebody, and then their intuitive guidance was like, yeah, this was the right time. So, like, like intuitively, you'll know when you find the right person that is a good fit for you.
Beautiful. Thank you. If you could debunk one myth about alternative medicines or healing work, what would it be?
Oh my God, I love this question so much because there's so many out there. But I would say, gosh, yeah. Oh, okay. I have so many answers coming in, but
Well, you give it. You can give me a couple.
okay. So the one, I think we talked about this last time, but the big one is, I really, really um, want people to become more comfortable with the idea of purging. So there's a whole stigma attached to the idea of, like, they don't want to do combo because they're like, oh, that's the one where I throw up, or they don't want to do ayahuasca or iboga because they throw up. But the thing that's really beautiful that's happening in the process is that your body is actually cleansing itself. So if you can kind of allow your consciousness to be open to the idea that it's actually a really beautiful process, that your body knows that's how things energetically need to move your body by purging, it actually can turn into this like celebratory process. Like, I've gotten to the point in my journey where, like, I just got to do ayahuasca like 2 weeks ago in Bali, and I was so excited that I got to purge during the experience that I was like laughing afterwards. I was like, thank God that came out of me. I was purging out like self-judgment because I'm really hard on myself, and it was all about, like, I had been so hard on myself for like weeks before that happened. And then when it left my body, I was like, oh my gosh, thank God it left. And it turns into this like beautiful celebration. So this is something that comes up all the time, where people write things off and there's like, I'm not going to throw up. I don't want to do that. And it's like, that if that's the thing that's holding you back, I would like invite you to think about it a little bit further, and what is that fear actually teaching you, because fear is such a powerful frequency that lives in us, and a lot of the time it can hold more weight than we even realize. So like, we carry these things in our subconscious, like fear, and then we bury it underneath a lot of things. And then if you continue to avoid experiences that could potentially expand you, then you're going to continue to stay in the same place, right? What's the saying that, like, there's no growth in the comfort zone, right? It's like there's some saying like I don't remember what the saying is, but it's like you don't grow in the comfort zone. The only growth happens outside of the comfort zone, something like that.
You nailed it. Yeah.
So
You got it.
yeah, so anyways, the point is, I think people, once you step outside of that fear, it's incredible what can show itself for you. um and then, yeah, I would say, like, just be open-minded, allow yourself to just be open and say yes to things that you might feel a little bit hesitant about, because you never know where it's going to lead you. So it's pretty incredible where this path can take you.
Yeah. And speaking of which, I want to tap into like energy a little bit. That a lot of these medicines like ayahuasca, mushrooms, the psychedelics in general, but even things like combo, they're moving energy. And your point on purging, which for those of you at home that aren't really familiar with the purging and what that means, that could be puking, it could be crying, it could be laughing, it could be yawning. There's so many different ways to purge. And it might, literally could be tears or snot, right? It doesn't have to be necessarily puking, but purging is like just moving energy out of your body. And, a lot of these medicines basically just provide a gateway or a doorway to release all of the pent up energy and the storage of the things that have not been processed and kept inside you. So I know that you are familiar with, and I think I don't know if you have to correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong here, but like facilitate also like energy work. There's all kinds of things like Reiki and different healing modalities that focus on energy. So I would love just to tap into a little bit of that. If you have any recommendations for things that people could try or do in conjunction with things like combo or whatever to help them move that energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that was actually what started me on this path. I became a Reiki master before I started doing any of this. So I first started with energy work, and I would say it's one of the most important things in the healing journey, because we can, like, combo we talked about is a physical experience where you're physically move things, but you also want to do the energy work in conjunction with it. And that's something I offer when we do combo in person. We're doing energy work too. And then there's also like shamans that do energy work, but honestly anyone can do energy work, and a lot of it is just about like open your consciousness up to the idea of seeing how energy lives within you. We all energetically store things, like, that book, The Body Keeps the Score. So that we
Mm.
hold things and we store things in our body, because we're not like when you see an animal like a cat get scared and then it shakes it off and it's like it's fine, like it never happened. We don't do that. So we don't have that somatic release experience. We have the traumatic experiences and then we store them, and then they cellularly get trapped in our body, and then we can carry them with us our entire lifetime. So it's again going back to the idea of like getting yourself still enough, quiet enough to be able to feel what is it in your body? Where are you holding things? Like a lot of the time we're holding things, like especially women, we hold things in our womb, we hold things in our back, these things that, potentially aren't ours. We pick things up energetically, especially when you're empathetic and you're feeling other people's energy. So a lot of this takes a lot of stillness, clarity, being quiet in order to help yourself move the energy. So it's something like we all have the ability to do. It's just a matter of like tuning into the frequency of healing yourself and doing the energy work on yourself. Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you start tuning into it.
Yeah. And speaking of which, I think it would be so helpful too, as we bring some awareness to these factors to our audience here. One of the things you started our conversation with was, as you're preparing your vessel to sit with combo or any of the other medicines, you touched on a little bit about, just like what are you consuming? And I think it's really important for us to dive in there a little bit further. So, as people kind of assess if they want healing bad enough, they're potentially willing to strip out certain things out of their routines or their diets or their lifestyles that just aren't serving them anymore, so they can create the space for healing. So, as we walk into, maybe a combo ceremony and we're preparing for that, besides diet, what are some other things that people can do to set themselves up and their vessel up? Things like Netflix, not watching scary shows on Netflix. What kind of media are you consuming? There's all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, I just don't you have any tips for us, on other things besides like food, that might be things to look at in terms of getting rid of them that aren't healthy for you.
Yeah, I love that question so much. It's something one of my teachers early on in this journey gave me the analogy is like before you sit with plant medicine or any of these experiences, like think about it as if you're having over like your ultimate deity, like Jesus Christ is coming over for dinner and you're having him and you want to put on your best linens and you want to like clean your house and like dust the ledges and shampoo the car. Like you want to get everything clean. So think about your body as cleansing your body that way. So not only with the food you're eating, you know, like, because you're gonna, before a lot of these experiences, you're gonna eliminate sugar, gluten, dairy, red meat. You're gonna eat like as clean as possible. But then also, like you were mentioning, you want to eliminate the amount of time you're spending on social media. You don't want to be watching the news. You don't want to be watching anything that could potentially have an effect on your consciousness, because these things carry weight within us. Like we're talking about energy, everything is energy, right? So we carry, and also being very observant of the people you're spending your time with. So, like, taking inventory of your surroundings and who you allow in your space, because you want yourself to be clean and clear when you sit with the medicine, so that you get the most benefit out of the experience and you're getting like a good bang for your buck, um, and being able to feel the full experience. Because all of these things, it's not just food, but it's also like the things we're consuming, the people we're surrounding ourselves with, like how we take care of our body. You know, we want to have make sure we're getting sunlight, we're moving our body, you know, taking care of ourselves in all the ways, so that when you come, you're going to get the full experience that your body is meant to. So,
I just as I'm totally going through this process myself, like in real time, like, taking inventory of like what I'm consuming and like trying to cut things out. And it's definitely a really big leap to go from like a traditional Western diet of like processed foods and, Starbucks coffee every day to a little bit more of a natural approach where it's like, okay, now I'm trying to strip out caffeine. I swapped Starbucks for, things like Rise or Mud Water, where it's like the mushroom version of coffee. I even stopped using Apple head like the wireless Apple Pod or Pod
uh-huh.
headphone and just do regular headphones to try to stop the constant EMF or whatever it is. I don't know, all that kind of stuff. But I deleted the news apps from my phone because it was making me depressed, right? Like I'm watching, like being mindful, like when I'm watching a show, like is the show happy and joyful or is it like super dark and negative? Because all of that stuff, I don't think people realize, like when you're on social media all the time and you're scrolling, it's all negative. It's Trump this, it's Biden that, it's super divisive. And then you go, home, you're watching a really horrible, like a horror show or whatever, or a zombie movie, whatever. And then like you're listening to these really dark rap songs when you're on in your car on the way to work and it's talking about, shooting people up and stuff like that, right? And then you're also consuming like processed foods and it's from, animals that have been abused. You're eating those eggs and you're, eating all the meats and stuff from these animals that have been abused. Like, it's just that you're just loading your system with like just negativity and then you wonder why when you wake up in the morning that you hate your life and you're not grounded at all. You've spent zero time in nature, right? Like that stuff
Uh-huh.
compounds. And so, I just love that you called that out so much because when you do a like holistic inventory of how you're spending your time, if you're giving yourself no time to go put your toes in the grass and the soil outside and breathe in the air and the sunshine and stuff, it's like, what is life? I'm like, oh, what are you doing? You're going to make yourself super depressed. So, I love just this integration, the prep and integration part, I think that alone can just be so freaking healing for people just to clean all that stuff up, again, how bad do you want it?
Uh-huh.
How bad do you want it? So amazing. Well, I heard a little birdie, I know it was a couple months ago now, but you just were publishing a book.
Yes. My dear sister put together a book called Triumphs of Transformation. And it's a book where people, there was 30 of us, got to share our resilience story. So, I got to share my journey, a little bit about what we talked about today, but, about, I guess it was 5 years ago now, I had a really beautiful awakening experience at Burning Man. And then it started me on this healing journey, and I got to share a lot about that and my experience with plant medicine. I mean, I owe a debt of gratitude to plant medicine and what it's done for me and opened up so many doors for me and being able to heal myself, although I'm not healed. Let me just clarify that. I am constantly still working on it. But I do want to say, though, part of my purpose and dharma on this earth is I want to help as many people as I humanly possibly can to find as much joy as I have in this journey. And I want to share everything that I learned through my own self discovery as transparently as I can. So that was part of my mission in sharing my story in that book. And yeah, it actually became a number 1 bestseller in a couple different outlets. So we're really excited about that. So thank you for letting me share about it.
Yeah, I'll hyperlink it in the show notes too, so everybody can go access that. And then the other thing that you do that I think is really cool and definitely replicatable as well, like around the country, around the world, and it's such a great thing to do is the power of community that is the case. Everybody needs community when it comes to healing. There's true power there. You've created this incredible space for women to come together in the Los Angeles area. And I'm sure you've had some people from out of state and stuff too. But tell me a little bit about your healing community.
Yeah, thank you. We created a group, and it started with a women's group. It's called the Conscious Collective. So part of the theory behind it was that I was finding myself kind of a little bit alone when I first started this journey because I had left my corporate job. I stopped drinking, I stopped partying, and I noticed that like all the people I surrounded myself with before, it was no longer in resonance. So I had to just reevaluate all the things. So I created this group of women. We have ourselves together called the Goddess Empowerment Group. And we have like monthly gatherings where we all come together and we share our offerings. So we have usually 10 to 15 different healers come together. We facilitate workshops. So we do like anything from Kundalini activation, breath work, vocal activation, dance, and then we have women that come and they share their offerings where they're making candles or soap or jewelry. And we all come together and just share. And then how can we support and uplift each other? Because rising tides lift more boats. So we're just here to uplift one another and support one another. And I love getting to do it because there's no greater joy than getting to support one another. So I love that. And then we just started doing co-ed ones about a year ago now. So we're just trying to help as many people as we can in their evolutionary journey.
I love that. Well, I'll make sure to hyperlink anything I can to provide that for those that are living in the Los Angeles area or just want to reach out to Heather to get involved or see how you can be supported in your own journey, et cetera. There's a lot of great resources for you. So amazing. Well, Heather, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today. It's such a joy learning about Kambo with you and some of the other healing modalities that are out there, and just to know there's hope. There's hope out there for people who are stuck in the corporate loop to jump out and to embrace the journey and the path that they so truly want. So again, thank you for coming on the
Thank you so
show.
much for having me. I'm so grateful.
And for all our listeners at home, we will catch you next time. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. We'll see you later. You guys, I just launched a website, www.qnamy.com. You can go to the site now, enter in your email, and sign up for our newsletters, which are going to have information about psychedelics, resources, prep and integration programs, community, and so much more. So you can head over there now and sign up for that. In addition, if you like the show today and would like to help me out so much, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, comment below, and share it with someone you love. It helps me out more than you can imagine to get the word out there about psychedelics and how they can help our society heal. We need you guys. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and we'll catch you next time.